Did you know that transmissions and differentials don't have a cooling system? That's why upgrading lubricants is critical to the performance and longevity of those hard-working parts. Royal Purple's Max Gear ATF not only reduces temperatures, but Max Gear and Max ATF also provide maximum wear protection and free up more torque. Go to royalpurple.com for more information or to find a dealer near you. That's Royal Purple, the performance oils that outperform. A toolbox is designed to be a lifesaver, but unsecured in your vehicle, it can be deadly. To understand why loose can become a lethal projectile during a crash, imagine cruising at the posted 70 miles per hour. Then suddenly the car in front gets a blowout and you slam on the brakes. Your car may slow on command, but loose objects are hurled against your seats at the going speed of 70 miles per hour. Okay if they're stuffed animals, but golf clubs may cause more pain than a double bogey. And since car makers aren't required to test their seat backs against the force of an accident, you're the heavy in ensuring objects are tied down or stored in a net. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Brought to you by Royal Purple Synthetic Oil, the performance oil that outperforms.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If this is a new program for you, and we do have a new affiliate in Orlando, Florida, WRSO 810 AM and 93.1 FM. So a special shout out to Carl Como and the at Central Florida Transmission for sponsoring Bobby Likis Car Clinic there in Orlando. Our toll-free number, if you have a car question or just want to talk cars, fancy that, is 888-CAR Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Miss Kim will take your call, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Power Frame Grid Technology. Batteries with Power Frame Grid Technology are stronger, more durable, and keep you going. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next new battery and know that you're getting true strength on the inside. So, Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you this morning by Stant Corporation, bringing original equipment expertise to quality aftermarket products like fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. My favorite thermostat, if you care to ask, is Superstat. You can hold a Superstat and a regular thermostat in your hands and feel the difference. Superstat by Stant. You can find Stant products for your vehicle at stant.com. You can find answers to your car questions at Bobby Likis Car. You're going to love us. Here's an email from a Car Clinic listener. David writes, "What's the amber light on my dash? It looks like a cork pointing at an angle to a picture on the side of the car. This light has been on and off for about a year now, and I think it's time I check it out." Well, David, no time like the present. The light indicates a detected failure that could allow gasoline fumes to evaporate into the air, costing you money in lost fuel and polluting the air. Most common failure that trips the light? A small evap leak, or in other words, loose fuel cap. Besides being tight, the cap must also be in good condition. Fuel caps don't last forever, and poor quality caps don't work well from the beginning. Stant makes a fuel caps that will last a very long time and ensure proper sealing of the system. Stant fuel caps are the only aftermarket caps to include all the safety features of the original equipment cap. Visit Stant.com or ask your local parts store for a Stant gas cap by name.
O'Reilly. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts during our Clean Car Month sale for great deals on everything you need. Are looking like new. You'll find washes, waxes, glass cleaners, interior care, and more. Plus, O'Reilly carries the brands you know and trust, including Armor All, Meguiar's, Turtle Wax, and Eagle One. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
Many oil filters use cheap paper filtration that fails after only a few thousand miles. That's why Royal Purple developed its new extended life oil filter. Royal Purple uses unique microglass filtration that removes 99.9% of harmful contaminants and provides extended protection. Royal Purple filters are available online and by special order at quality auto parts stores. Go to royalpurple.com for details. Royal Purple, the performance oil and filters that outperform.
You're listening to Bobby.
Another great place to use Visa.
They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow. Now you're here, your aroma helps. The day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with today's edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You know, I often tell you about what's happening in my shop, and for those of you who are new to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, for some 44 years we've operated, and to this day, a 15,000 it's 15,000. It started off as a little rented 4-bay used car lot that we rented. We had the biggest parking lot for the smallest shop in the history of automotive repair. But it was 1971, and it was March the 11th. How you can remember those things. It was like birthing a baby. So for all of our ladies out there, you know what that's like. I got to tell you, and that's what we did. We started Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair. It wasn't pre-repair then. It was just an automotive service shop. And now it's evolved into a bumper-to-bumper, full service pre-repair, and we created the pre-repair plan, which I'll get into that later if you really care to hear that. And we're going to take a call from New York, and then we'll take a call from Michigan. The bottom line is we started in 1971, and to this day we operate Bobby Likis Car Cleaning Service Pre-Repair, which is a full-service facility located on the Gulf Coast of Florida, in Pensacola, Florida. So some 50, 60 hours a week, we service and we maintain and we pre-repair our customers' cars. So that qualifies me to help you. And that's really what I'm here for. If you have a question, you know, one of the things, like when you go to a doctor, as you leave the doctor, you say, well, gosh, I wish I had known the right question to ask. Well, and if you have a friend or a family member that goes with you, you look at each other and said, I wish I had. And so for you, what I bring to you every Saturday from 10 till noon, Eastern Time on your local AM and or FM station, and also at Watch Bobby Live. We videocast this program through a cooperative effort with Google and YouTube at watchbobbylive.com. So you can wave at the camera and it's real time, and we have a studio inside, a really nice studio inside this automotive service shop. So I answer your questions, but primarily what I'm really here to do is to give you the right questions to ask when you go to your local service shop. It's what you don't know to ask. And believe it or not, those of us in the service business would rather that you be educated to what makes your car tick. Now, I don't mean that you have to be a technician or you have to be a gee whiz. You know, you just have to be able to walk into a service shop and say, here's what my car is doing that I don't like and what it didn't do before. And then if there's still a communication issue, then you take that technician and you begin to discuss, well, you hear that, or you smell that, or you feel that. Use your senses. And that way you can communicate what your car's doing you don't like, and then a technician can say, oh yeah, okay, well let's run this test. And also I'll just share with you, there is no one machine that you hook up to a car and tells you everything's wrong with the car. That just doesn't happen. I know that our industry may have implied, or perhaps you want to believe, but that's just not going to happen. So what I want you to do is, when you get a chance, check out my new Pinterest board. It's in the shop with Bobby Likis. That's Likis, and that's on Pinterest.com/Bobby Likis, Likis, and we pin some photos this week, really cool, 2011 Mini Cooper, and the symptom, it had brake pad wear. The sensor had triggered the brake light on the dash. So the owner said, well, hey, my brake lights are on, fix my brakes, or put the light out, or put a piece of tape over it. No, we don't do that. And I don't. So anyway, the bottom line, the corroded brake hardware and uneven pad wear, it had, you'll see this on the pictures, 70% wear on one side, 30% on the other side, on a car that had about 60,000 miles. So we installed new brake pads, rotors, and new brake hardware. And we use brake hardware from, and you may or may not be familiar with this company, but it's Carlson Quality Brake Hardware. And I will tell you, Carlson actually, just FYI, and if you're in the business, they manufacture, produce, and supply 85% of the brake on the market. And folks, when you put a set of brake pads on an automobile, it's not just replace the pads and the rotors and you're done. What causes uneven pad wear is that the brake pads, when you step on the brake pedal and apply the brakes, that's you force that brake pad to grab that rotor. But when you let off, what happens? Well, you just let off. There's no return springs. Return springs are on drum brakes, but on a disc brake, there's no return. So that system has to, if you were to tense up your arms and, you know, do the man thing, you know, yeah, well, okay, I can't do that. If you were watching Watch Bobby Live, you'd see that. But the bottom line, if you were to do that, you know, and make the muscles and the veins pop up, well, that's fine. That's what happens when you step on the brake pedal. You hydraulically cause that to happen, and you push pressure against pads, and then the pads push against the rotor, and that slows the car down. Well, what happens when you let off the brake? It's supposed to relax. It being the brake pads and the calipers. But if the brake hardware is dirty, corroded, it's in the road all the time. If you think dirty wheels are, you should see behind the wheels at the brake dust at the brake pads themselves. That's where the brake hardware comes in. And that's why, and I have to tell you, I admit openly on this national global cast that for too long in my automotive repair and service career, my 44 years, we did not replace the brake hardware. we just wiped it off and put it back on because it's stainless steel. You know, hey, it doesn't wear. It really doesn't. Well, it does wear a little bit, but nothing like a brake pad. And besides, you know, it's like $10 or $12 or $15 more. Why would you spend $15? Well, because ultimately when you learn how to repair automobiles and you learn through making mistakes that everyone does in life in their profession, then you find out what's the best way to do this right the first time. That's why we always, right now to this day, install new brake hardware when we put pads and or rotors or rear shoes on any brake, on any automobile or any truck that we service. And I chose the Carlson quality brake hardware because they lead, you know, they have it. They lead the field. They make the best product. Let's go to Jim in Michigan. He was first in, so we're going to put Jim first up, and then we'll come back to Paul, and we'll come back to George, and I'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Jim, and a good morning to you. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. How you doing this morning? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put Jim back on hold, and you know what happens is you listen to the radio. So what we'll do is we'll take a call from George in Florida. George, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir.
Pleasure talking to you.
That's always my pleasure. How you doing today?
Pretty good, thank you. I have a 14 Camry, and I've been changing the oil every 5,000 miles. I'm putting in Mobil 1 synthetic 020.
Okay.
Someone says I'm out of my mind. I should change it every 10,000 miles.
well, I won't comment on someone who's telling you you're out of your mind. I mean, here's the bottom line. Here's a challenge with oil change intervals. And there's I'll make this a short story. Old cars, you had to change the oil much more short miles because the tolerances of the engine allowed more gasoline and more pollution and dilution of the oil in the engine. I mean, that's the way it was. And to that end, if you were to go back before I was born in the 40s and look at the oil then, you had to change the oil every 1,000 miles because it didn't have the detergents and dispersants and the anti-corrosive elements and additives that are in the oil today. So you fast forward, 50 years. Now we have the best of oils. We have synthetics. We have some really good conventional oils as well. It's not the oil that has changed. Oil hasn't changed before human race. Well, what has changed is the additive packages and the chemicals that are added to the oil after it's refined to make it better. Now, having said that, if you drive a late model automobile, well, what's a late model? I'm going to say a late model car would be a 2000 and later. It would definitely have electronic fuel injection, definitely be a vehicle that was designed, an engine rather, that was designed to run a lightweight viscosity oil, specifically like your 14 Camry that runs 020. What's the difference in an engine that runs 2050 and one that runs 020? I can tell you, if you put 2050 oil in your Camry and you crank it up on a cold morning, you'll cause engine damage. Why? Because you have this fat oil. 2050 is fat oil that's running through these skinny tolerances inside your engine, and it can't push its way there. Now you'd have fantastic oil pressure, and oil pressure is distance to flow, but you wouldn't have any flow. And with no flow, you get no cooling of the metal parts. You get no lubrication. You just get pressure. And so, you could take a hydraulic hose and block off the hydraulic end that lifts like the garbage trucks and block that unit. And when it gets to the end, it binds up because the pressure board. You don't want that in a car. You want flow and cooling of oil. So, George, when I come back, I'll give you a little more information, and I'll take Paul, and I'll take Jim's call from Michigan, and I'll take yours at 888-227-2546. How can you improve battery performance? Power Frame Grid Technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. Power Frame Grid Technology formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true inside. Visit PowerFrame.com to find a retailer near you. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Some say ethanol causes phase separation of gasoline and water in your tank, which can cause corrosion. But here's the fact. Zero ethanol or all hydrocarbon gasoline can suspend about 0.15 teaspoons of water before it separates. E10, gasoline with 10% ethanol, can suspend about 4 teaspoons. That's over 26 times more. And contrary to popular belief, it's difficult, if not nearly impossible, to absorb enough water from the atmosphere to induce phase separation. At 70 degrees Fahrenheit and 70% relative humidity, to saturate a gallon of all hydrocarbon gasoline would take months and much longer for an E10 blend. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
Lubricant companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car.
Oh, Steve, it's so romantic camping at night.
Yeah. Hey, you want a mint?
I didn't know Trident makes mints. What was that?
Just a rabbit or a squirrel.
No, it's a bear!
I see it.
Do something, it's getting closer.
Wow!
Aw, look, he likes our breath.
Trident introduces new Trident Advantage Mints, the great-tasting sugarless mint that strengthens teeth and helps reduce the risk of tooth decay.
Can you get the bear to stop licking my mouth?
New Trident Advantage Mints, the good for your teeth mint.
Good day, ladies.
Hi.
I'm Willie Works, here to talk to you about how to get rid of those tough, embedded odors in the laundry.
You know what I've been soaking some of my husband's T-shirts in a baking soda solution.
Oh.
Now that seems to help.
Sometimes I boil them in vinegar.
Oh.
Yeah, that could help.
Oh, ladies, there's an easier way.
Really?
Febreze for the wash.
Oh.
Just add a capful with your detergent and odors disappear.
Really?
Oh.
One wash is all it takes?
Yup, Febreze. One cap, one wash.
And say goodbye to odors.
Back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for tuning in today. And just remember that every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, you can catch us on AM and or FM radio stations. And if you are away from your city and you want to tune us in, or you have a friend in Germany or Japan or wherever, you can go to watchbobbylive.com and get us 24/7 right there. But live, you'll see us from 10 till noon on Eastern Time. And we always leave something running on our YouTube site. That's watchbobbylive.com. I was speaking with George at the break about changing interval of oil. I didn't get to the change interval, so I want to address that now. George, let me just share this with you. If you have a healthy engine, which means an engine specifically a later engine, because the new cars are better made than ever before, the materials are better, the fit, the finish, all that is better. And the materials, the machining, the oils, even the fuel. So the bottom line, you can go 10,000 miles on an oil change. In fact, Royal Purple has the annual pledge, and they pledge that you can go 12,000 miles or 1 year. And you can go to royalpurple.com and revisit and take a look at their pledge. Now, here's the challenge. In my opinion, you should not go 10 or 12,000 miles on an oil filter, because that filter, number one, the filters on new cars are about the size of your fist. If you're not a boxer, but you're just a regular fist, they're very small, so there's not a lot of media in there. You want to use a better filter. In fact, for the ultimate oil change, you should buy synthetic oil, and the Royal Purple filter that will deliver the 99% filtration for the annual oil change or 12,000 miles. So that would be my answer. And if you're not a Royal Purple user, you should check out royalpurple.com. If you're satisfied with your oil that you're using, that's cool. But just know if you're using a regular store, off-the-shelf, aftermarket oil filter, I do not endorse going 10 to 12,000 miles on that filter, regardless of who filter, if it's a regular filter with a media that's not synthetic. So enough about that. We'll take another call. Let's take a call from Jim. Jim, welcome. Again, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us this morning.
Okay, we're right on the crew, and we're with you. We're going to start talking about this week's car. We're going to talk about the new emphasis on the 2015 Ford Fusion that even has a luxurious model for $26,000. However, there's some contention there. It's running on a 3-cylinder engine.
Wow, 3-cylinder engine. Well, tell us more about that. I'm familiar with the 3-cylinder engine. I know that Ford has won the International Engine of the Year 3 years running with that engine, and that engine was actually designed for a European engine. I mean, it's a 1-liter 3-cylinder with EcoBoost. It's a pretty powerful engine. But Jim, you think Americans are going to go with that?
No, I don't think they're going to go with it completely. For example, you want your car to be dual purpose, to do more than just a luxury ride. Suppose I had a boat and I had to drag it down to the boat arena 50 or 60 miles away. Well, I want to be able to pull that boat. I'm not going to always buy a separate vehicle or be able to park a separate vehicle on my property, and I want the car to have dual capability.
Well, that's a good point. And to that end, as you know, even with gasoline, which is today it's in the 250s, but even with gasoline at $4, people are still buying. People who like trucks drive trucks, and they buy trucks. And for the life of me, I don't really understand that. Not that I have to, but 4-wheel drive vehicles, and there's so many of those 4-wheel drive vehicles that never see the offside of the road, but that takes gas mileage. But as you said, if you buy the 3-cylinder vehicle, you know you're not going to be towing a boat with that. I think that's, as I understand, that's a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine, and I think from a power standpoint, it probably has about 150 horsepower.
Right, so you don't want to carry 6 heavy people in there. It might even put a drag on the wheels.
Yeah. So what else is new in the world of automobiles out of Michigan?
Well, what also is new, Bobby, we had a report in Michigan. Now, the GM car that is a hybrid is combination electric on the hybrid there. And the BMW recently, when they ran out of electric power, the mileage performance to get that car to go extra while the generator was going fell poorly. And that car is 51 grand as opposed to the GM car for 30 grand. That says a lot to me. Well,
on a GM car, you're talking about the new Bolt, the EV that has the 200.
Right, where you can get it for 30 now instead of 40.
Right. So it's as I understand, 200+ mile range.
Exactly. And when you charge up the new cars starting in October, some of the public charge stations will not be a plug-in Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. You put your car next to it, and it does it wirelessly.
Now, wait a minute, Jim. Now folks, listen to this now, and because this is really cool. You park your car over a pad specifically in place, and through the resonance between a receiver and a resonator on your car and on the floor or on the ground, your car is charged as it's parked wirelessly, so you don't have to plug in any wires. And you would think that we'd be talking, Jim, like in Star Trek in the future, but that charging is already here.
The future is now. Who knows what 5 months or a year from now will go. For example, next year's cars, the average on the Malibu with city and highway driving is going to be 48 gallons.
So that's interesting. As we increase MPG, which we're seeing, and we decrease the number of gallons that are being used, we may actually see gasoline prices stay below $3 for some years.
They would have to compete because people aren't going to need it that often.
Well, That's way cool. Hey, thanks so much for your call in, for your report. Always great to hear from you in Michigan.
We'll be back next hour if you have time.
I think, Jim.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 888-227-2546. I do want to reach out if you're in the Orlando area. WRSO 810 AM and 93.1 FM. That's Real Sports Orlando. Our good friend Carl Como, who is the station owner and actually runs that station with his son, has recently joined and become a Car Clinic affiliate. And I want to welcome a new family member, a new Car Clinic affiliate, WRSO 810 AM in Orlando. And also want to reach out to Sean and Jim. Sean is the manager of, and Jim is the owner of Central Florida Transmission. That's the Bobby Likis Car Clinic sponsors there in Orlando. I want to reach out to folks. You really need to have a relationship with a local shop in your area. Whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Washington or California, doesn't matter. Whether you're in the metro area or you're just in a rural area, you really need to have someone that you can depend on and trust, or that you can trust and depend on. Either way, that's the two words, that's the key word to automotive service and to adding life to your automobile. And of course, it's up to you. You own the car, you drive the car, and you need to find a shop in your area. And I can help you with that. Let me hear from you. Miss Kim will take your call at 888 Car Clinic. Now's a great time to get in. 888-227-2546. Let's go to New York, talk with Paul. Paul, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for taking my call, Bobby.
You're welcome, sir.
I got a intermittent problem with it's a 2006 Subaru Tribeca, and this just started this week, and just be driving down the road and the steering wheel will start to shake back and forth. And I'll stop the car, pull over, stop, and start out again, and everything's fine. And I'm not quite sure what it is. I took it in, and said it might have some dirt in the wheel. They cleaned the wheels out. I got an oil. And still kept doing it. Got a new pair of tires.
You got new front tires. Here's a car
new all tires all the way around.
All the way around. Okay, and so this car was shimmying. Is there a particular speed, like 35, 40, 45, that it starts to shake?
It's about between 55 and 60.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But you'll be driving down, it'll be driving, rock solid, no problems, and all of a sudden the wheel will just start to shake, and it doesn't do it all the time, just every once in a while. And I took it back after I got the new tires. It was still doing it the next day, and they said a weight fell off the tire.
Right.
And that was 2 days ago, and then it's still doing it today. Still does it. But it's not all the time. I can drive it in 10 miles, it'll do it, and I can drive it 20 miles and it won't do it over the same roads.
Paul, how many miles on the vehicle?
145.
Here's what I firmly, I believe it's a suspension issue. I do not,
Okay.
I mean, it just happens that a weight came off. That could happen, but that wouldn't happen, and then you go back out and have the same symptom. So changed tires, you had a shimmy, you changed tires, you lost a weight, you rebalanced, you still have the same symptom you had before if you went back to before new tire time. So
Right.
I'm gonna say that it's a suspension problem, and the first thing that comes to my mind, I have a couple ideas. One, A-frame or strut bushings, because that's what keeps those wheels solidly held going straight down the road. So that's one of the things that comes to my mind. But also, and here's something you could test. I believe that it's possible you could have an inner CV joint that's bad on the front wheel drive. Now, here's what I want you to do, and this is easy enough to do. Doesn't prove anything except it would give you a symptom. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So what I want you to look for is oil. Do you know what a CV axle is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, and a CV axle has two boots. It has the inner CV joint and then the shaft, and then the outer CV joint and the shaft. And where the joints are, they are accordion boots. So I want you, so you have four boots because you have four joints on this two axles. I want you to look at the boots of on each side, driver's side and passenger side, to see if there's any lubricant escaping. And if so, that will tell me that we have lost some lubricant on the inside, and we've also allowed sand and grit and road grime to get into the joint. Now, now that doesn't, just because if you don't see any problems there, it doesn't mean there's not a problem with the joint. But if you see a problem there, then you have a lot to have that axle assembly removed and replaced. And I recommend a brand new axle always. Just be done with it, because you've got 140,000 miles. So that's what I would do. I would check the axles and CV joints and check the suspension rubber bushings, and then the, well, when I come back, I'll give you the third thing that I would check. Don't touch that dial. I'll be back. Let's take a question from the Car Clinic inbox. Here's Charlie from North Carolina.
Bobby, based on your recommendation, I've been using K&N air filters and love the convenience and cost savings of just washing and re-oiling them instead of having to buy new ones. Last week, while cleaning my air filter, I noticed it has some small holes in the top of the cotton right at the folds. You don't see the cotton layers, only the screen. The filter is only a year old, but it's supposed to last 1,000,000 miles, right?
Charlie, a hole in a K&N filter is very, very rare, so I checked with K&N as to potential causes. Sounds like you may have been using compressed air to help dry your filter. Compressed air is a no-no with a K&N filter. Definitely stop using the filter, and I recommend you contact K&N. Email K&N's fantastic customer service team at tech@knfilters.com. They'll probably ask you to send in the filter or a photo so they can address your concern. They'll work quickly to get you and your vehicle back on track. Learn more at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last night I get in my truck, and in the back seat is one of those supermodels. Says she always wanted to meet a man who owned a sauerkraut factory. We're eating sauerkraut. She's wiping juice off my chin. I pull out my Rolaids, and in under 10 seconds, it starts working. Then she's gone, and so's my heartburn.
Rolade starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolade starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Now, I'm not a financial wizard or anything, so when I needed a mortgage, I went to LendingTree. I filled out one simple form, banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. Maybe I am a wizard after all.
Visit LendingTree.com or call 1-800-555-TREE. That's 1-800-555-TREE. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct. Oh. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Bob Glenn.
My idea of a Starbucks experience is the sense of community. I love people, and what working at Starbucks has allowed me to do is get involved in people's lives more directly. What I think is so great about Starbucks coffee being available in the grocery store now is that Starbucks selects the coffee, roasts the coffee, packages the coffee to enjoy it, and not just to enjoy it necessarily by yourself, but really to enjoy it with other people.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad you joined in today. Our toll-free number is 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. If you have a car question or just want to talk cars or fuels, or and we had a gentleman earlier who did not hold, call from New York and had a question about ethanol additives. So if you're tuned in, feel free to give me a shout. I'll be glad to talk with you at depth about anything to do with automobiles. That's sort of been my life and my hobby and my profession. We're talking with Paul in New York. And Paul, you still with us?
Yeah, it's still here.
Okay. It is a fact that the inner CV joint could cause steering wheel shake. What I would like for you to do And if you were to, when you go to a doctor, and you've got a joint problem, they extend whatever extremity, whether it's your arm or your leg, to see where the pain and see what your range of motion is. So what I want you to do, and you can find a big parking lot somewhere, you're only going to idle. You're not going to go any faster. You're going slower than walking speed, actually. And you're going to turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, and you're going to idle around in a circle. Now, when you turn the steering wheel all the way to the end, you can overdo it, and it causes the power steering to have a lot of pressure. So you don't want to hold it physically really hard against the stop. You want to come that to the off just a little bit. You understand what I'm saying here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So what you're doing is you're going to walk that car around in a circle and listen for any popping noise from the front suspension, i.e., because you are checking the range of motion. You're forcing that CV joint to extend and retract in the full length that the car can possibly make it do. Now you want to drive around to the left, forward, and you want to back around and in the same left turn. And you want to do that to the right side. And that will give, and you when you're doing this, you want to feel for a little, like a gravel road or a bumpy road, or you're walking around, all of a sudden, you feel something doesn't feel right. So you're aggravating, and you're not going to hurt anything because the car is limited to its turn, and certainly there's margin there for you to turn more than the car will turn. So as far as the CV joint, so this way you are checking the range of motion for the inner and the outer CV joint. And if you hear something that's popping, then you go back to your service shop and you say, let me show you what's happening. And therein lies, I guess, if I could close on any one topic, and folks, this is true for almost any of those elusive automotive problems where your car runs like Attila the Hun for you and Little Miss Manners when you take it to the shop. And Paul, that happens all the time.
Right.
Literally. I mean, this happened this week to me 2 or 3 times. And the owners feel, I say, let me show you what my car is doing, Bobby. I want you to feel this. This is what you recommend, so come and go with me. And then when the car doesn't do what they say, they have this, I knew it. I knew this would happen. I knew it. and it is a ha. And then I'll say, not to worry. I know it'll happen. And sure enough, if you just relax and give the car a moment, it will, for the most part, if you're a talented, experienced technician and driven as many cars as I have, been in that business, you can understand what the car's doing that the owner doesn't like. So that's what I'd recommend for you to do. You do the extended, you check the range of motion for the CVs, you check the rubber bushings to find somewhere either in a rubber bushing, and understand that rubber bushings allow for some movement. So you can put any car on the rack and take a pry bar, which we do, and check range of motion by pushing against the rubber bushings. You can make any A-frame or any strut move. It's a question of looking at the rubber to see if that rubber is in the center, like a donut. You got a donut and you put your finger in the hole, but then you put your finger over to one side, you're ripping the donut apart. That's what you're looking for, ripped donuts. Okay. You got it?
Yep, sounds good, thanks.
Sounds good, thanks. Okay, there you go, ripped donut. What does a ripped donut have to do with automobile? Well, in this case, it may be a lot to have to do with automobile. 888 Car Clinic is the number for you to call. Miss Kim will take your call and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. 888-227-2546. Sweepstakes, just a week. And for those of you who just tuned in, we're actually making available for, I say we, because yours truly, Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and my team, we're putting up $500 in gas cards. So $500 gas card. And then the Renewable Fuels Association in Washington, the ethanol folks, are putting up a $250 Visa card. And the Royal Purple partner sponsors are putting up a beautiful, as always, leather lambskin jacket that is to die for. And it's the new sweepstakes that we started. Well, it's not quite new now because we've been on this campaign about 6 weeks. Bobby Springs for free fuel ups. It's running, it's up at Car Clinic Sweepstakes. So as we close in on the end of this series of sweepstakes, as I said, May 13 is the deadline. May 13. It's just a week and a half away. So to enter, it's really easy. You go to carclinicsweepstakes.com and you answer a question. And you will see there are 5 or 6 questions there, maybe 7 questions. If you have a question, when you go there, rather, you simply click on that question, answer that one question, and your name. And you can go there many times as you like. Now, I just want you to understand that all 13 or 14, whatever, how many series we've had over the years, of our winners have answered all the questions, because the more questions you answer, and there are a maximum of 7 questions, then the more times your name gets put in the hat. So, again, go to Car Clinic Sweepstakes and enter to win. And hopefully someone in our community, in our broadcast community, is going to win either the $500 gift card. And you can do the numbers. Look at your MPG of your car, take $500, divide that by the price of the gasoline that you buy, and multiply that times the number of miles you get per gallon. And you'll see that $500 will take you on a vacation and back home cross country. It is a whale of a deal. And we had a winner one time, I think from Massachusetts, who every year he and his wife did their Harley trek, and they took their Harley motorcycles. He said, "Well, Bobby, I got to tell you," he says, "we love it." He says, "We figure we got the next 3 years on you at $500 riding our Harleys." And I don't know what a Harley gets. So if you have a Harley, you can tell me. I don't know what they get. I did have a Honda one time, but I never did check gas mileage. I was, I'm not a motorcycle guy. 888-227-2546. And as always, be sure to keep an eye on my social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, and Instagram for awesome contests and giveaways. Don't wait. Only a week and a half. Enter daily to win. carclinicsweepstakes.com. So I got to tell you, one of the things that I really enjoy is sharing with you information about your car and about cars. I don't have all the answers. I don't propose to have all the answers. Never. But I will tell you this. I've answered more than 100,000 questions. Actually, that's 5 years ago I reached that mark. So 100,000 plus questions with regard to cars. And I find that, and some people think, well, that's a dumb question. I'm not going to ask because I'll feel dumb. Don't feel dumb. The only dumb car question is the one not asked. And you can ask anyone in the business, is that a dumb question? And it's like thinking of a question for a doctor. Now, the only dumb question you'd ask the doctor is, I got a pain in my chest, and you call the doctor on the phone and says, do you think I need open heart surgery? No, I think you need an appointment and run some tests first before you decide what, or I decide what, the here. So it's the same thing for your automobile, folks. So when you call around, and I want to share this with you, then I'll take a call from John in South Carolina. When you call and you ask a shop, I've got a, whatever it is, 2006 Impala, and got a leak on a water pump. What's it cost to replace a water pump? That is a loaded question. And if any shop, unless the shop is one that you frequent, unless it's your shop, if any shop will give you that price of that water pump replacement over the phone without first, you can be assured that price will out the door. And you say, well, Bobby, why is that? Well, number one, water pumps as a rule don't fail on new cars or on new used cars. Water pumps fail due to bad coolant, due to overheating, due to circumstances, the environment that water pump works in. And the environment is a coolant, and the coolant has lubricants and anti-corrosive, all that. The better you keep the lifebloods of your car, i.e. the coolant, the oil, the transmission, the power steering, the differential, the brakes, the better condition you keep the lubricants in, the lifebloods of your car, the longer the car will last, the longer the components will last. That is a fact. So if you take nothing away from today's Car Clinic program, just know that when you change the fluids in your car, and I don't mean turkey baster, I don't mean suck out the old stuff and put new, I'm talking about an exchange like a dialysis. I'm talking about a true transmission procedure that we use a machine to extract the old and replace with new. When you do that, you eliminate 98% of the toxins and the debris, and you put back in new lifebloods, and that component will last guaranteed. We'll take a call from John now. John, thanks for holding in South Carolina. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
First-time listener. I enjoy your show very much.
Well, thank you I appreciate that, John. We're glad you tuned in. We've been on the air for 24 years, and we have a great team here. But as we run toward the end of this hour, what can I do for you?
Okay, sir. I purchased a 2014 Chrysler 300 last week. It was used. Has 20,000 miles on it. I'm getting up in age. It's an old man's car. I know. It's got a V6. It's not the Hemi. It's a V6.
Okay.
My question.
You are getting old.
I'm debating about a K&N air intake system or getting just the air filter itself. Being a V6, I don't know, is the air intake system overkill for that engine? Would I be better off with just the air filter? There is obviously a big difference in price between just the air filter and air intake system. And I was just curious if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, number one, and I really excuse me for answering a question with a question, because I don't want to be evasive. I love the cold air system from K&N, and I've used them, I've installed them, and I know they work. But as compared to the K&N air filters, that's a whole different ballgame, because the K&N air filter should be on every car. That's a no-brainer. So for you, I would ask, what's your total intent on the car? Because if you want just a little more performance and you want to make the car last longer, then I would do multiple things at one time. Number one, I for sure would put a K&N filter on your car. That's a no-brainer. It'll be the last filter you ever buy. That's number one. Number two, I would upgrade the lubricant to Royal Purple Synthetic. And you always want to stick with the viscosity that the manufacturer, so whatever your 300 V6, if it's 530 or 020, then you stick with the same viscosity the manufacturer recommends, but upgrade to Royal Purple Synthetic Oil. And if you use the Royal Purple Synthetic Oil filter and the synthetic oil, you can go a year or 12,000 miles. I recommend 10,000. I like that extra. And the reason I say that is because so many people say, well, if you go 12, that means I can go, I've only got 13, and that's not the case at all. 12 means 12. It means 11,999 at the max. So I say 10,000. I would do if I were you, and I would do this all at one time so I could feel the difference. Because in a lot of cases, you know what synergy means. If you put synthetic upgrade Royal Purple oil and a K&N high flow air filter in that vehicle at the same time, next oil change, let's say, then that engine will respond to two different improvements: the improvement in lubrication of the Royal Purple Synthetic and the improvement in airflow from the K&N. So if you put those two together and you compare the performance immediately, but after 200 miles or so, I'm going to say 200 miles, and even gas mileage, and neither, people don't talk about gas mileage because it's the person driving the car that dictates the gas mileage. I can tell you that right now. So,
yes,
and you know this. So if you change no driving habits at all, and you've got 5 or 6 tanks of MPG in your pocket, you know what the car is getting, you can upgrade to the synthetic oil and the K&N, and then you'll see an improvement in MPG and performance. Now, that's provided that you don't tease that throttle, because it's so much fun to drive the car. So I would recommend you go with that combination versus spending the more on the cold air system, because when you go with the cold air system, there are other things that you can do. Then you really start to see improvements in horsepower. And for you just want a little teaser, and I would start with that, and then you could go to the next step, and the next step would be a possible chip for the car and other things. Hey, John, thanks so much for calling, and folks, thanks so much for tuning in to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and just know this, there's another hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyright of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, be sure your brake job is complete by replacing all the brake hardware with Carlson quality brake hardware. Why? It's more than simply replacing shoes and pads. Fact is, when you also replace springs, clips, and other hardware parts that hold all brake components in place, your brakes will perform better and last longer. Investment to ensure your brake job is complete and done right. Invest in the best. Invest in Carlson quality brake hardware kits with every brake job.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
What's the most amazing thing that's happened in our age? The Berlin Wall? No. Genome Project? Hardly. How about that little pill that's given your grandfather the drive of a 14-year-old? Not even close. The most remarkable advancement may be the technology that allows you to effortlessly plan and book your own travel. It's Travelocity and allows you to beat the travel system. Their product called Dream Maps, every destination available to you for the amount of money you have. Calendar-based shopping allows you to find that elusive low fare and tells you the date it's available. Travelocity puts more than 700 airlines, over 50 rental car companies, 5,000 vacation and cruise getaways, and in excess of 50,000 hotels at your fingertips. It allows you to go places you never knew existed, to discover places you absolutely would not have before. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Folks, welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. This hour, it's an all-new hour, and I'm here to answer your car questions. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-25. That's the way that you can reach me. Kim will take your call and put you in the queue, and then I will put you on the air. So if you have a car question, or just like when you go to your typical doctor, as I've said many times, it's the question that you don't ask that when you leave there you wish you had asked. So in this case, it's the same thing with your automobile too often. And so I'm here with my years of experience to share with you information that'll help you better connect with your local service shop. The number's 888 Car Clinic. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Royal Purple. Lubricants from bumper to bumper, my choice for all synthetic oils and lubricants. Available at O'Reilly Auto Parts. How about that? This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is also brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Keeping your car clean is really simple. It's inexpensive, and it's one of the best forms of maintenance. And I got to tell you, O'Reilly Auto Parts has the cleaning and detail products that you need, from washes, waxes, and polishes to leather and vinyl care. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for Clean Car Month. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. When I come back, your calls at 888-227-2546. Likis, you'll love us. This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire and the all-new Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. Want to go farther on your tires? Check tire pressure monthly, including your spare. Underinflated tires can decrease MPG and steering control, while overinflation results in a harsher ride. During your checks, inspect tires for cuts or abrasion, then once a year have your alignment evaluated. Improperly aligned tires will wear prematurely and even drag themselves on the road, ultimately reducing MPG. Finally, rotate and balance tires every 6 to 10,000 miles. Out of balance tires can bounce, which causes tire chop, wear issues, and an unstable vehicle. Drive to GeneralTire.com to learn more about the all-new Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. The Ultimax RT43 is designed for a quiet, comfortable ride that includes industry-leading smart technologies. For more details, drive to GeneralTire.com. Today's new product spotlight is on Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers. You've spent hours getting your ride ready for a cruise around town. You can see your reflection in your door and eat off the dashboard. But what about those rusty calipers? They just can't withstand the elements. But Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers feature an exclusive weatherproof coating that protects against rust and corrosion. Wrapped in a sleek, powder-coated silver finish, Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers look sharp and complement all wheel types. Installation is easy and all necessary hardware is provided. Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers provide the best of both worlds, premium appearance and superior performance. And now, through November 30, every Cardone Ultra Premium Caliper you purchase gives you a chance to win a Ford Mustang GT. Monthly winners will also be chosen to win a $200 Visa gift card. Register and report each product code at CardoneUltra.com. That's CardoneUltra.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Geico Auto Insurance customers are frugal people. They value a dollar, and they save a lot of them by switching. To prove my point, I'm joined by a real live customer, Erica Willis. Erica, will you give me $10,000?
No.
There, proof that Geico customers do not like more money than they have to. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. You could keep 15% or more of your money. 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Bob Glenn.
My idea of a Starbucks experience is the sense of community. I love people, and what working at Starbucks has allowed me to do is get involved in people's lives more directly. What I think is so great about Starbucks coffee being available in the grocery store now is that Starbucks selects the coffee, roasts the coffee, packages the coffee to enjoy it, and not just to enjoy it necessarily by yourself, but really to enjoy it with other people.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If this is the first time that you've heard this program, I want to welcome you. We appear, I guess that's a good way to put it. We're here, appear. We do appear because in addition to our Car Clinic affiliates, AM and FM across the nation, we also come to you via Google, YouTube, at watchbobbylive.com. So you can go to watchbobbylive.com, or you can go there anytime, and we always have a video running for you, whether it's a video of a past program or whether it's an interview. And we have a lot of interviews. I don't have any today, but we have guests who call in from automobile shows like the Detroit International Automobile Show, which is a huge show, with Chicago, LA, you name it. And so we get the inside scoop, and I share that with you on new cars coming up. Well, we do have a gentleman in Michigan who calls in regularly, and he's sort of our Car Clinic reporter, Jim, and he's done a whale of a job, and we're going to have him a little later in this segment of the program. We're going to go to South Carolina first, but I do want to reach out to Orlando, Florida, which, you know, folks, our studios are located in Pensacola, Florida. It's the Gulf Coast. And a lot of folks that are not Floridians think when you think Florida, they think Miami. I mean, it's just either Disney or Miami. We're a long way from Orlando. We're a long way from Miami. And we're sort of closer to the Alabama state line. In fact, we're in L.A. is what we call it here. It's called Lower Alabama. And it's a beautiful community. Well, today's beautiful. We've had some really rains for the last 5 weeks. So we're really celebrating a lot of things today. I do want to celebrate the addition of another family member to, no, not to me. I'm beyond the new family members, except for maybe grandchildren, but a affiliate of the week, of the hour, WRSO 810 AM and 93.1 FM in Orlando, Florida. WRSO Real Sports Orlando. Carl Como and his son run that station. It's a new affiliate for us, just tuned in today. So I want to welcome all you folks in the Orlando area at this 10,000 watt station. A special hello. I'm Bobby Likis, and I've 44 years in the business and 24 years hosting Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And it's my privilege here every Saturday to bring to you information that you just can't, it's like if you're at a dinner party and you run into a technician or a shop owner or a dealership service manager, and you say, hey, I don't want to bother you, but can I ask you a question about the car? I mean, that's a real gem because you're getting the inside, what I share with you. And so we're starting today's broadcast with a special shout out to Carl Como and family there at station WRSO 810 AM in Orlando. And a special thanks to Jim and Sean at Central Florida Transmissions for sponsoring the program there. And if you're new, or we're new to you, either or, feel free to 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546 if you have a car question. Let's go to South Carolina. We'll take a call from Mel, and then we'll talk to Jim in Michigan, and then I'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. Mel, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Thanks for taking my call, Bobby. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Thank you, sir.
I have a 1986 Isuzu Trooper, 4-cylinder. It's a beater. I use it primarily for hunting and fishing, so I don't get to drive it every day.
Gotcha.
My problem is this vehicle runs extremely rough. When you first crank it up, you think you have bad gas. But that's not the problem. I've had all of that checked, and my regular mechanic has done a compression check. There's evidence of water in one of the and low compression. There is no water leaks or oil leaks on the driveway, but I do lose water in antifreeze. You could buy some additive that you could put in the radiator, and that if you did have a small head gasket or head leak, that this stuff would help to seal that up and thereby eliminate the problem. But what would that do to my radiator?
Wouldn't affect the radiator because sodium silicate, what they use in, like Blue Devil, I presume, is one that comes to my mind. What radiator and cooling system and head gasket stop leaks do is, and there are different chemicals that are used, but sodium silicate is one of them, and that's liquid glass. In fact, you remember the Cash for Clunkers campaign a couple, 3 years ago, 5 years ago?
Yes.
Okay. The treatment to render the engine inoperative, which had to be done, and this is a different treatment, but same, was to use liquid glass and pour it into the crank. And now you're not talking about pouring liquid glass in or any stop leaks in the crankcase. You're talking about using it in a radiator. But I'm just saying that chemical, when it reaches a certain, it's a liquid glass. When it reaches a certain temperature, it solidifies, and I use the word never, but in our lifetime, it never returns to liquid again. It once it solidifies, you're done. So what happens in a cooling system when you put this stop leak in there, it has to reach a certain temperature. Otherwise, it stays liquid. And that temperature is way above what a cooling system would be, maybe 900,000 degrees. So it finds and is exposed to the hot spot in a head gasket leak or a crack in a cylinder head. And once that liquid seeps through the crack, just like imagine a dam that's starting to leak, and you put your finger in it, the old story. Well, that's what exactly this stop leak does. It solidifies when it sees the heat. Now, will that fix the car? No. Will it buy you time? Yes. And I will tell you this, because I've had personal dealings with this very same vehicle. And in fact, I had one that belonged to a customer that had a timing belt issue, and we put a new timing belt on it, and then he had problems with the front brakes, and we put the front brakes on it, and this was a money pit. It had turned, and so the last time, wasn't the last time because I bought the car. Last time, and I don't buy cars. The last time it came to my shop, I advised him to quit spending money on this car because he was, and that's what I advise owners. If your car stays in the repair garage more than it stays in your garage, it's time to get rid of that car. Now, the situation for you is a little different, as I understand, because you don't expect, this is not your daily driver, and you just want to, you said the word, it's a beater. So having said that, by all means, use the stop leak, follow the directions to the letter. Don't overdo or underdo. It's a 4-cylinder, so you're probably going to use, whatever the container says, half of the container, and that's what you should do. So I recommend what your technician recommends. I think he's pointing you in the right direction. I will warn you of one thing. Whatever you do, given the worth of this car and what it would cost to fix it right, do not go into the engine. If you want to keep this vehicle, either get a used engine, which I shy away from for this particular vehicle, or get a reman engine from a national remanufacturer if you were to do that. That's not applicable to what your situation is as I read it. So I'm not saying do that, but I didn't have the foresight to do that because I said, well, I got this. I know what to do. So we pulled the engine apart and we put a new head on the engine, and it ran fine. Actually, my wife loved that vehicle. She loved it, so I put a new top on it. $670 for that top. Did yours have one of those canvas tops?
No, sir. I have a hard top on mine.
Okay, well, this one had a canvas top. I spent $6 for the top. It looked, this is a white little smart car, a little trooper, and it looked really neat. And but it just didn't pan out. It never recovered. Whatever we fixed stayed fixed, but something else would break the week after week after week after week. I should have taken the same advice that I gave the owner, and I should have never bought that car. But the bottom line is, so I will share that with you. Don't spend money on that car. Put that stop leak in that cooling system. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, get you another used car. You got it?
I got it, Bobby. You sound just like my mechanic. I have spent tons of money on this thing, and he advised the same thing. In fact, he offered to buy the car so that I would quit spending money on it.
Well, isn't that?
And I said, I love it. I love it.
But isn't that ironic now?
Part with it. I've had it forever.
Yeah, but Mel, isn't that ironic that he is about or thinking of making the same mistake I did? So you can tell him from me that not only are we on the same page, I've already been down that road. So why don't you save him? This is a switch. Rather than your technician or your mechanic saving you from a lot of dollars, you're saving your mechanic. So you tell him, you put the stop leak in. If it doesn't work, this car goes down the road. You don't need it. Because Bobby Likis said you don't need it. Okay. All right, my friend, thank you for your call. And folks, thank you for sticking in there. I'm going to come back and put Jim on the line. We're going to see what's happening with the new car world in Michigan. And then I'll take your calls at 888-227-2546. Mass airflow sensors balance and deliver the correct fuel mixture to your vehicle's engine for optimum performance. But dirt and other debris can get into sensors, causing sluggish performance, lower MPG, even failure. Covering 9 of 10 vehicles on the road today, Delphi knows auto repair. Delphi has the OE expertise to ensure a perfect fit for every vehicle every time. When it comes time for a repair, remember that with Delphi Parts, it's not just quality, it's Delphi quality. Learn more at DelphiAutoparts.com. What can open and close hundreds of times a day on your vehicle? Your vehicle's thermostat, which performs two critical jobs: accelerates engine warm-up and regulates engine operating temperature. With so much at stake, like engine wear, fuel economy, emissions, and cold weather drivability, choose a thermostat professional installers choose. Stant. Stant's is premium grade and features a heavier gauge stainless steel housing. Your heat motor for optimal temperature control. For more SuperStat advantages, visit stant.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
What's grinding you? Your brakes? Don't succumb to that daily grind. Stop it with Carlson. Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, choose Carlson quality brake hardware kits for the highest quality materials and processes. Carlson controls the design, engineering, and manufacturing of all their brake hardware, ensuring proper fit and performance. Why risk your brake job with inferior brake hardware that may not fit or perform properly? Eliminate the risk by asking for Carlson quality brake hardware kits for every brake job.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Live from Progressive. Flo, we're talking to newlyweds.
Hi, my husband and I are combining our policies, and my mother-in-law says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's right?
I'm saying get used to it.
Get great savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Mikey steals the tissue. He breaks right. Now left. Clock says 3 a.m. He shoots the tissue and off the lamp and into the basket.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
Go to sleep.
Uh-oh, there's a heckler in the crowd.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join me today. Just remember that Saturday from 10 till noon, you can tune us in right there, your local AM and or FM station, or at watchbobbylive.com as well. We'll go to Michigan and take a call from Jim. And I got to share with you folks that my purpose and my goal is to help you better understand the car that you drive. And when I say that, I don't mean that I'm going to lay out the car and you're going to understand everything that works about the car, but you do need to know that beneath that gas pedal and those nice seats and that behind that dash, there's a lot of wiring, mechanical components that have to work in harmony. And even more so with today's automobiles, because there are 25 black boxes, the average on a car. I mean, in 2000, there were a million lines of code in a vehicle. Today, there's 100 million lines of code in a computer system. So it's a sophisticated machine. You don't need to know all that. You just need to know that there's some things that you need to follow. The owner's manual, the manufacturer's recommendations for maintaining the health of that vehicle. Because, you know, the old story, years and years, you can pay me now and you can, the rest of that story. So you don't want to put yourself in that position. That's where I can help you. I can give you the information you need so that you can make your car last longer. Okay, let's go to Michigan. We'll take a call from Jim, and then I'll take your call. Remember, here's a number. It's 888-CAR-CLINIC, 888-227-2546. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Always great to have you on the air.
All right, Bobby, it's always a pleasure. Glad to be back again on the second hour. We'll start off by talking about what's coming out on the new Honda 2016 model, which including no extra charge for destination, is going to sell for a remarkable $19,995.
Really? 20 grand to buy you a Honda?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They expect to get 70,000 people buying it, half of which will have never been introduced to the Honda system, and the car gets 25 city and 34 on the highway.
What's it called? What's the name of the car?
Okay, this is a 216 Honda HRV small SUV.
HRV. It's a small SUV for 20 grand. And what does the steering wheel cost? Does that come with it?
That's thrown in for free, Bobby.
Okay.
So Bobby Likis special.
That is a special. When you look at the average cost of a new car is, I think, $26,000. That's the
I
entry
agree,
level.
because that's what I paid for my Impala, and I got a real good deal on my Malibu. So you got to get a deal, and then you sometimes can break the cost.
I did a study one time, Jim, on used cars and the cost of used cars, and I specifically chose a Honda, or I found it. I won't say that I chose it, and it was an Accord, and I compared let's just say a 214 Accord with a 215 Accord, and the cost of a used 1-year-old Accord was I forget the odd number, but it was a little more than $200 more expensive to buy the used 1-year-old car than a new one, which proves how well the Honda, the residual value of the Honda is. It's a great car. We all know that. I think, I don't know, what's your, I know you drive a Chevrolet, you just said you did, but what's your take on a Honda?
Well, I think it's a great car. I mean, I've stepped down a little bit from the Impala with my Malibu, and I still find it roomy enough, and I'd have to actually sit in the Honda to feel how my wife and I like getting in and out of it. That's really the big test of us, is how we feel when we get in the car.
That's true. We have in our service shop, Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, a van. In fact, I bought the van brand new. You've probably heard me talk about it on air. 2001 Town and Country. It's not worth anything. I wouldn't sell it because we use it for loaners. In other words, when someone has their car in the shop and we have a problem that we can't meet the deadline, which is often, I mean, that's just the way the repair business is, then we'll loan that vehicle out. And I never forget, we loaned that vehicle to a gentleman one day who had never ridden in a van, and he was handicapped. And he was, actually, he had a driver. And we sent down to get him because the battery went dead in his car. And anyway, long story short, he had to get in and out of his vehicle out of a wheelchair. And he was able to slide, once he stood up out of the wheelchair, right into the van. And he said, Bobby, if I didn't own this old car that I have, I would get a van because it's so easy to get in and out of. And to that end, if I look at that same scenario, talking about you and your wife and getting in and out of the car, and I think of the difficulty it is to get in and out of the Viper. I mean, you got to crawl over the sill, which is as a rule hot, and it really is physically difficult to get in and out of that Viper. And it's
better not have a bad back to try it, I'll tell you that.
Well, I hear you there, but the bottom line, it's still a fantastic, beautiful car, and I love the car, but it just doesn't have the creature comfort. I guess it's not made for that. It's a bear, like riding a bear. What engine do you have in your Chevrolet, and what year Chevrolet, and what gas mileage do you get if you check it?
We're not getting very good gas mileage. We get a 2013, and I think we get about per gallon.
Well, but was that all-town driving?
Right. We don't go on the highway that much. That's basically just staying off the highway.
Well, 24 mpg, if you think about it. I mean, you got one.
It's not really that bad when
no,
you
it's not
consider
that
what
bad.
we drive. You're right.
So, hey, listen, thank you so much. Any other news?
Well, the other news is that the #1 luxury car that's selling this year by the first quarter of the year has been Mercedes ahead of the BMW and the Audi.
Well, I bet Mercedes is happy with that. I wonder. I guess they're profitable then.
That's right.
Well,
and they're aiming, just like any other car maker, to stay up in tune with the technology. I don't think anybody can sell if they don't stay up with the topic.
I'll share this with you and with our listeners. The AMA, Automobile Manufacturers Association, which was taken apart when Chrysler was sold to Mercedes-Benz years ago. But before that, Andrew Card, was a guest on my program 4 or 5 times. He later was chief of staff at the White House, but he was the president and CEO of the American Automobile Manufacturers Association, AMA. And he was gracious enough to invite me to Detroit to his office. And so I went up for a car show, and I went to see Andy. In fact, I was there 2 or 3 times. And I asked him, what happened. There was this huge, and Jim, you'll appreciate this, and folks, Jim's son works with General Motors. So you walk into Andy's office, or the entrance way, and to the right was this huge conference room, with a table that had to be 20 feet long, 25 feet long. And he said, well, Bobby, this is where the CEOs and presidents of the big 3 come and meet. And we've got, GM, Ford, and Chrysler. That's the big 3. And with them, they're vice presidents and no. I said, well, what do you discuss? He said, well, each person that comes in here has a little small something to say, but they wouldn't not come because they are afraid that somebody else at another company might talk about something that they wouldn't know about. So when I was sort of trying to get an inside story as to what the president or CEO of GM or Ford or Chrysler would talk about in front of another CEO, other than all the niceties and all the professional things that we all know about. And he said, I'll tell you what, they're each trying to figure out how to get a leg up on the next one. And you know what that means? It means for us as car buyers and as consumers that it's a buyer's world. If you don't like what's on the market, you wait 6 months. And Jim, just like you say, here's a $20,000 Honda 2016 HRV SUV that's going to be a whale of a car. How do I know that? Because Honda makes good cars. Hey, thank you so much for calling and sharing the latest information.
Okay, we'll be back again next week.
Thank you, Jim. 888-227-2546, 888 Car Clinic. I do want to share with you a recent experience that I had with tires. The General Tire Ultimax RT43 tire we put on our 2007 Toyota Camry. About them, the early warning visual indicator. They call it, it's really neat what General Tire engineers have done, VAI. It extends the life of the tire by virtually identifying misalignment. Really? 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 So here's how that works. In the outer treads of the tire, this is a brand new tire, etched in the outer treads are wear bars. And those wear bars are not very deep. They're very but they're patterned. So that if one right side of your tread tire on the same tire and the inside of your tread tire, and one outside wears more than the inside, I mean, this is within 2,000 miles, a brand new tire. You say, well, I got the car aligned. Well, how do you know? This is an indicator, and it is absolutely, they call it VAI. It's a early warning visual indicator that shows you premature tire wear, so you can correct that alignment. I think it's brilliant. And then they have this integrated replacement tire monitor that I know you've heard me talk about. And I love that because on this tire, and this is the Ultimax RT43 tire, in the center of the tire. How many times have you been to a tire store or a service shop and said, well, I need tires? Well, here's a tire that tells you when it needs to be replaced. How? In the center tread, there's a tire replacement monitor. And that's what it says, tire replacement monitor. However, part of the replacement and part of the monitor are shallower in etching than the other, so that when the tire wears down to 2/32, it says replace tire, rather than tire. All that's gone except replace tire. It's the neatest, and besides that, they really work well. 2007 Camry Toyota General Tire. For more information on your car, your next set of tires, you go to generaltire.com and check them out. In the meantime, let's take a call from Kansas. Don, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah. Hey, what I was wanting to ask you about, Bobby, the the ABS brake light and just the standard red brake light on my 2000 Astro. I've had several Astros. I like them. Invariably comes on and stays on most of the time. Occasionally it will go off, and then it's kind of odd. It usually goes off when it's icy outside or snowy, and so then your anti-lock brakes work. Well, it's not a big deal when they don't work because I really don't care that much about the ABS system anyway, but it sure is annoying for that light to be on all the time.
Well, hold that thought, Don, and when I come back from the break, we'll talk about brake warning lights and ABS. Don't touch that dial, folks. Hey, friends, Bobby Likis here. Did you know that transmissions and differentials don't have a cooling system? That's why upgrading lubricants is critical to the performance and longevity of those hard. Royal Purple's Max Gear and Max ATF not only reduce operating temperatures, but Max Gear and Max ATF also provide maximum wear protection and free up more torque. Go to royalpurple.com for more information or to find a dealer near you. That's Royal Purple, the performance oils that outperform.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn earrings today.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Michaela's got like the best earrings.
Sarah, buckle up.
I wish my name was Michaela.
We're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
It can be tough getting through to kids, but it's your job to make sure they're wearing your seatbelts. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
Is there anything more satisfying than watching a snowflake fall, gently carried by a delicate breeze to the welcoming earth, and then thrashing it on a ripping snowmobile? If you want to have fun in the snow, make tracks to Unicorn Expeditions in Lake Parlin, Maine, where the cabins are as cozy as the trails are smooth. But if you want to buzz the powder, you better bring your Visa card, because at Unicorn Expeditions, they take kindly to sled heads, but they don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
So, how about you and I getting together?
I don't know. I have to get up early.
On the phone!
Oh, sorry, dear.
You live at home?
Looking for a home? Click on to Realtor.com and search over 1.3 million current home listings. Plus, you can find useful information on schools, financing, even take virtual tours. And when you're ready, you can click and connect with a Realtor.
Hello? Are you... Yes, dear, I'm right here.
Realtor.com. It's the place to start when you start looking for a home.
Hello, once. Welcome to How Stupid Can You Be? The show where folks tell us all about the outrageously stupid things they've done. Please join me in welcoming today's guest, Sarah. Now, Sarah, you're 23 years old and you recently did something really stupid, didn't you?
Yes, I bought alcohol for my younger friends.
Wow, she bought alcohol for minors. That's one of the stupidest things anyone could ever do. Am I right, audience?
Of course I got caught, arrested, charged with a felony, and I could get up to 6 months in jail.
You tried to buy alcohol for minors and all you got was trouble. That's all for now, folks. Coming up next, a man who performed his own root canal at home. How stupid is that?
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. Underage drinking. It's arresting behavior.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I want to reach out again to Orlando, WRSO 810 AM and 93.1 FM, Real Sports Orlando. Carl Como, answer and owner, and his son. If you are in that area, let me hear from you at 888 Car Clinic, a new Car Clinic family affiliate, and we're brought to you there on station WRSO 810 AM in Orlando by Central Florida Transmission. And Jim is the owner, and Sean is the manager. I'm sure they both do a great job. Tell them you heard them on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We're talking with Don and Candace. And Don, the brake light that you're talking about, is that a brake fluid warning light or the ABS light that you're referring to?
The ABS.
Okay. All right.
Actually, both lights, they're just the standard brake light that's in red, just says brake, and the ABS light are on. When the ABS light goes out, the brake word light also goes out.
Got it.
I understand. I went online and looked to bring that up and see if anybody. Well, one guy says, well, it's inside the brake module box. You take that apart and you can solder a particular connection that gets loose and so forth. But it just seems strange to me that we've had 3 Astros. Every one of them have done that.
Well, actually, I think that he's right. That ABS module, if you were to look at, the mortality rate, and I've often said this face-to-face with my car clinic service pre-repair customers, when you take your car in for service, it's always, what's wrong with it, how much is it going to cost, and when can I have it back? I mean, that's the 3 questions that people really want to know. And so the what's wrong with it is the first thing. You have to run tests to figure out what's wrong with it, and then how much does it cost to fix? And we call that P&A, price and availability. And the price is determined quite often by the availability. What does that mean? It means that if you can wait a couple of days, we can find that car, that part for that car at a better price. But if you have to have it today, there's only one person in town, and I'm at the at the mercy of that person, or if I have bought from a dealership. So P&A is a big deal. So price and availability of a part. Having said that, with the vehicle that you've got, that module is very expensive, but it can be repaired. And it's not something that you can repair. It's not something that a shop can repair. However, the black box that is a separate part of the assembly, and the black box can be replaced and it can be remanufactured. And there are some dealerships and service shops that understand this and can do this. So now I sort of read between the lines from you that doesn't bother you, but because it comes and goes. But if you were unfortunately to have an accident during the time that it didn't work, then you would have said, I wish I would have fixed it. So I can only say, in my experience and what makes me and drives me from a technical standpoint is, if you know a car has a problem, you should have that problem fixed. And that doesn't mean you go out and spend a lot of money. It means that you go out and have the circuits tested, and then you have the options. And once you know the options, then you can make an educated decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the only thing for me, Bobby, is that I prefer not to have the ABS anyway.
Okay.
I grew up driving cars without the
I hear you.
ABS, and I really don't. I would prefer they not. The only thing that bothers me is the light being on, just annoying. But I did at one time. We checked, and it was like, I don't know, it's like $2,500 or something like that, or $3,000, and I'm thinking, no, that's not happening.
No. I agree. I mean, you exceed the value usability. But I will share with you that for pennies on the dollar, you can have that unit remanufactured. You're probably going to still spend, I won't even put a price out there, but you'll spend less than a third of that. I know. That's your decision, and you can cross that line, cross that bridge when you come to it. But I where the problem would be, but I won't guarantee it, of course.
Okay. Now, my question for you is, you're saying I can get it remanufactured. When I checked with my dealer, which is the only option that I even had, because the local parts house said, no, we can't touch that. And the dealer didn't even give me that option. They just said, well, we just have to put a new box on it. So where can I go to get this other option you're talking about?
Module Masters.
Module Masters. That would be online?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go from there, and I thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, and let me know what comes up. You'll get a price, and you can reach out to these folks and let me know what you think. And I hear what you're saying. I still would urge you to do the safest thing on the car. And I know you don't necessarily need in your mind the ABS, but I will tell you, I tested the first ABS system that was installed on a Mercedes on a skid pad in Germany, and I was of the same mindset as you, and I had an on switch on this Mercedes, and this was in 1988, and I will tell you it was unbelievable. It was an awakening that was a rude awakening, because I just thought that I understood the physics and the dynamics of panic stop. But I can tell you, it's unbelievable what unbelievable what cars do these days. Anyway, hey, let me know when you get to the other side, and let me know how they treat you, or if that part is available through those folks.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. 888 Car Clinic, folks, is the number. Miss Kim will take your calls and put you in a queue. Still plenty of time to get you on the air. 888-227-2546. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about that just a week and a half away, we'll be reaching into the hat and picking a winner or winners of 3 separate prizes that we're going to be giving away on the Bobby Springs for Free Fuel Ups sweepstakes. And it's up and running, but May 13, which is just a week and a half away, will be the deadline. So you can go to carclinicsweepstakes.com and enter. And this is real hard cash. This is a $500 gift card for gasoline from yours truly, and it's real $500. And you get that. You the winner $5 gift cards so that you can have, if you've got family, you can dole it out. You can pass it out ever how you wish, versus having one person have the card and another not having the card from a convenience standpoint. So that's one of the prizes that we give away. And this is I think our 14th series. And then the other prizes are a $250 gift card, Visa card, from the Renewable Fuels Association. That's the ethanol folks. And then last but certainly not least is a lambskin leather jacket from Royal Purple, our partners and our sponsors for 11 years. And it's a beautiful leather jacket from Royal Purple. All you have to do to win is go to carclinicsweepstakes.com and enter. And I will tell you, if you don't enter, you're not going to win. And when you go there, you can answer one question, your name's going to be in a hat. Or you can answer questions, and your name's in the hat 7 times. And if you go there 7 days and answer 7 questions, your name's in the hat 49 times. And it is all about the numbers. I can tell you that from the way that it's digitally selected. So the more times you enter, the more chance you have of winning. I also would share with you some top reasons to pick a career as an automotive technician. Who would want to do that? Who of you tuned in would want to become part of the industry? I tell you, now's a really good time. And after my 44 years in the automotive service, for the past 10 years, I would have a difficult time to share this with you, because cars continue to change and evolve and get so technical that it's really difficult to stay on top of those repairs and on top of everything that's coming down the pike. It's new. But it's really, for me, refreshing to see the technology developing, because what happens is the more interconnected the electronics are with an auto, I won't say easier, because it's not as easy as picking out a set of tires and putting them on your car, but definitely when we run tests on vehicles, we can use one data port, and we can test multiple parts and areas of an automobile from that one data port. But here's the bottom line: the resurgence of the auto industry, coupled with a wave of retirements, has created a huge demand for job seekers who like to work with their hands and solve problems. That's really what we do. We solve problems. And I tweeted this article a few days ago, but I wanted to also share this with you during today's program, and now's a good time to do it. While the article concentrates on the state of Wisconsin, and this is the top 5 reasons to pick a career as an auto tech. And this is a report by Jim Fitzhenry. While this article concentrates on the state of Wisconsin, this is part of a national trend. Here are the 5 top reasons to consider becoming an technical colleges reporting that in some cases 96% of their graduates earn jobs. That's reason number 1. Number 2 reason, the grease monkey is firmly in the rearview mirror. That's done. You're more of a doctor. You have to diagnose what's going on with the car. If you like computers, that's how everything is done, as I mentioned, and auto techs still change oil and tires and brakes, but there's a lot of technology involved in that as well. Reason number 3, training opportunities are plentiful. Technical colleges offer a variety of automotive training programs for students who can focus on auto technology, and don't forget auto body repair as well. Auto dealers are actually offering apprenticeship opportunities for students who get specialized training, and that's a foot in the door for jobs. That's number 3. Number 4, artistry combines with chemistry. New generation of materials, and we talked about engine materials earlier in today's program. A new generation of materials allows auto technicians who specialize in bodywork to practice their art and science in new and really exciting ways. Every repair is a little different because no 2 cars are damaged in the same way. This is a career that will never get outsourced. And I will share this with you before I go to the number 5, which is, where the rubber meets the road, really. I will share with you that once you're educated, once you have ASE, which means you're certified automotive technician, you can get a job in any city in the world. Anywhere you'd like to move or retire, you can get a job as an auto technician. And you can do a 90-day job test. And if you're not compatible with the management of that particular shop, you can go to another shop. Now, when you reach the end of your list of shops, I just want you to know that when we hire technicians, we look for technicians who don't jump ship, because there's always another shop trying to hire a good technician away from a shop that has good technicians. That's just the way the industry runs. I'm sure that's true for all businesses, but it's especially prevalent in the automotive service industry. But the number 5 reason is pay. Pay is improving. This is due to a combination of demand for workers and the increasingly sophisticated skill sets. Soft skills, working in a team environment and communicating well, are as important as technical know-how. And I'm proud to say, and I'll say this today, and I rarely talk about my service crew because I'm here to take your questions, but at Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, we're celebrating our 44th year. We have the best team we've ever had, and we enjoy the best reviews from our customers. We enjoy a communication with our customers. We don't always do everything right. There's no way you can do everything right. But the bottom line is, when you open the hood of an automobile, if you're in that business, and you recommend a service or a repair to that owner, you must take the mindset that if that car belonged to you, what would you do to it? And I think therein lies the real secret to upper management, is to have that mindset, to have that philosophy that if I had this car and I wanted to make this car last and wanted to make it safe on the road for my family, what would I do to it? And therein lies the single directive. And that means that there are not 2 standards. There's only one standard. And that standard means that you repair that vehicle as though it belonged if you're in that business. And the biggest challenge that I have found in my career is sometimes that standard costs more than what the car owner is willing to pay. So how do you deal with that? We deal with that by giving the owner options. And we share with the owner of the car the options. Here's part A, B, C, and D of what this car needs. You wouldn't replace part D first. You would replace part A. You stop the bleeding first. That would be a water pump. But when you replace the water pump, there's hoses and belts and a cooling system dialysis procedure that should be performed so that you renew, and along with that, the thermostat. So with that, I'll leave you today, and I'll share every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern time. We come to you both at your AM and FM radio stations across the nation, and also at Watch Bobby Live. And I've got a fantastic team here. Thank you so much for joining us today on today's broadcast. Don't forget carclinicsweepstakes.com. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Bobby Likis. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Improving ethanol production efficiencies in concert with new farming technologies means the energy benefits of ethanol continue to grow. In recent research, the U.S. Department of Agriculture determined ethanol's energy balance to be 1.7 to 2.3. That's to say, today's ethanol production yields nearly twice as much energy as it took to create the gallon. Also, ethanol's chemical content cleaner burn of fuel in vehicle engines. Increasing ethanol use in gasoline is directly leading to cleaner air and fewer toxic tailpipe emissions. In 2011, ethanol use reduced tailpipe CO2 equivalent emissions by 25.3 metric tons, equivalent to the emissions of 4 million vehicles. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Driving a cab in this town can drive you nuts. It's like hurry up and wait. Last week, I'm stuck behind a bus on Broadway when that pastrami on ride catches up with me. Ooh, heartburn big time. Guy in the back seat says, "Here, take a Zantac 75. I say, "What are you, a doctor?" And he says, "Yeah."
Zantac 75 relieves heartburn anywhere, anytime.
A real gentleman, that doctor.
Zantac 75, the heartburn relief doctors trust.
Sweetie, this wedding reception will need an elegant dessert.
What do you think about the caramel flan?
Darling, I think it'd be perfect, but please, dear, it's caramel flan.
Mother, I really think it's caramel.
It's caramel.
A lot of people call it caramel.
Yes, if you keep a sofa on your porch like your fiancé. They'll serve kamikaze shots.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
That makes a Milky Way great.